the intuition, the wrong intuition about the precautionary principle, if you just said the word, you might say, oh, well, it's about just taking precautions for some kind of risk that hits us in society. In this case, the risk for us was dangerous pandemic. No, that's not what the precautionary principle is about. The precautionary principle is a kind of general rule of thumb for how to move forward in society with policy. And the problem is, what it implicitly recognizes and is trying to account for is the fact that when humans engage in new kinds of policies, even seemingly small ones, they often upset some kind of equilibrium that we've found, even though no one may be consciously aware of it, that we've found. You upset that, and there's then great impacts to society, that either economic impacts or health impacts or even death and life and death impacts. The precautionary principle says the burden of evidence is on those who are proposing the new interventions. The burden of evidence is on them to show that these interventions are both effective and safe. The burden of evidence isn't on these moms for liberty to show up in their 2 minutes and show that they're not safe. The burden of evidence is on the school boards to show that locking down the schools for 6 months or a year and sending kids home and all of the impacts, all of the varieties of impacts, are safe and healthy and lead to the similar kinds of educational capabilities without the kinds of downs. It's incumbent upon them. They're the ones who have to find the scientists. And what the parents should, if they do anything, can go in there and just poke holes in their arguments. Because the burden is on the school board. We shouldn't have to argue anything. Our job is to just poke holes in the arguments that you have for these draconian policies at all levels. But instead, we've been pushed back and having to say, no, these are harmful, these are harmful, these are harmful. No, you show us they're safe. From now on, I would recommend you walk in with the attitude, no, you show us that they're safe, because prima facie, that is, at first glance, covering my children's face, mouth and nose all day long is obviously not safe, for God's sakes. Sending my kid home for a year is not safe for their education and for their development. Giving them an emergency approved vaccine for something that's a vanishing risk to them is not safe. You provide the evidence. Otherwise, shut up until you get that kind of evidence. We have to turn this upside down and change the entire argument. The burden of evidence is on the politicians and those that want to make these new kinds of interventions. It is never on us.